G'day, how's it going? It's your mate Failbait coming at you with a Shadowverse 101 review video. So this is Failbait Reviews Legendaries from Dawnbreak Nightedge Part 2. So we are using Tartmen as the quantifiers for these reviews because, as we all know, all of these legendaries wish they were as good as Tartman. But if you are interested in more information about how we're reviewing these cards, scroll further down for the info below. We are starting then with Sky Commander Celia, the Swordcraft legendary, and unfortunately, Swordcraft players, this is not the outfit you were looking for. She does have good stats and she does provide some variety for Sword in the game, but not enough to truly take the deck to the top tiers. So Hope Strategist is a useful card in that it can provide you with the necessary board to assert dominance in the mid game. And then she has a Storm version of the card that will in turn diminish any of the board you've established for some quick damage. So obviously I don't think you would be playing this card unless you're pushing for game. As a result, this isn't a meta-defining card, nor will decks be built around her. That said, with few other options available, I still think she will see play in Sword decks, and for that reason, she earns 3 tentative Tartmen from me. Up next we have Moon and Sun, a recyclable neutral spell that provides reasonably statted minions with useful clash effects. I mean, this card does just about everything you could ask for. The Amaterasu provides the heal, while Tsukuyomi offers damage, and as you can see, both cards have the last words effects to put Moon and Sun back into your hand. So I think this will see play in some top tier decks, but I don't think it will be the focus of them. Look out for some cheeky shenanigans though with this card in spell boost decks too. 4 Tartmen from me. Then up next we have Yggdrasil for Forestcraft, and I'm going to go all out on this one and say that it's a great card. It fits into just about any forest deck, barring maybe neutral, and it has the sort of combo and utility factor that will make it useful in just about any situation. And it has Drain, which is always nice. I think it will mostly shine in Control Forest, but it does have a place in Aggro Forest, as this Wrath of Nature can provide the buff as well as giving your followers Storm potentially. Or you have the Blessings of Creation, another zero-cost card that can give you the resources you need to continue controlling the late game. So for that reason, I think this is another card to look out for in some top tier decks of next expansion, and it earns a very easy 5 Tartmen from me. Now, from the Mother of Life itself to this dastardly ghoul for Shadowcraft known as the Hinterland Ghoul, I think it's an interesting card to say the least. It fills your hands with skeletons and has a burn effect. The stats are reasonable for a 7-cost minion too. That said, I don't see how this card will fit into mid-range or reanimate decks, which I think will be the top tier for Shadowcraft next expansion. It could see some play for fun purposes in the opening weeks, but I don't think this will be a competitive card this expansion cycle. Eoktar still outclasses it. So only 2 Tartmen. Now we get the crazy Runecraft card known as the Unbodied Witch that evolves on its own and can spell boost 10 times. But this one costs 9 and has to survive a turn to get the spell boost. However, it does have a pretty interesting fanfare effect that can fill your hand with a copy of any card in your hand already. So you can get things like Giant Chimera, Flame Destroyers, or the Doom Boon from the new Legendary. So while this has lots of potential, I think it will be mostly played for fun in the opening weeks as opposed to competitively. But never count out a card that can spell boost for 10. Another tentative 2 Tartmen from me, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Now this card, however, is our Eye in the Sky. The Sky Fortress for Sword. The Rush fits for the prominent theme of Swordcraft, and the allied follower buff can help for value trades or even push for lethal damage. The stats are reasonable considering its keyword too, so this is a fine card, but nothing that will be top tier defining, nor will it bring Sword to the forefront of the meta. It does remind me of a particular undead horse from another card game, and that was very powerful, so I think this will be run in Swordcraft decks and it will help push them forward a little bit, maybe bringing Sword into the tier 2, but as a result, I think this probably only gets 4 Tartmen, but is the better Swordcraft legendary of the 2. Moving on to another 8-drop that offers a lot to its particular card and archetype, that's Orcus, the Vengeful Puppet. So this is the puppet legendary that will help bring puppets into the 2nd tier potentially. Not only that, but this is definitely a card to build around along with Noah for the puppet late game. It will see play in just about every puppet deck, primarily for its ability to set up lethal situations with their ambush, with their storm minion, or with a storm minion that can attack twice per turn, as well as presenting consistent threats for the opponent. So let's add Summoning Marionette Tray to the list of things I want to see this expansion. As a result, August will see play, will probably get Portalcraft's Puppet deck into Tier 2, and as a result, earns herself 4 Tartmen. Up next we have the Serenian Hind, which is Havencraft's choose minion that is reliant on having 2 amulets in play. On its own, this is a fine card as it searches for an amulet from your deck when it attacks, and has reasonable stats for its evolve. If you have 2 amulets in play, however, it can give you a rush minion to help save you an evolution orb, and then heals itself at the end to allow for some nice value trades, or you can opt for the easy removal and bane as well as subtracting 2 from the countdown of your allied amulets, so maybe spamming a board of tigers or turtles. This is a fine card and it fits into the sorts of Havencraft decks we currently see on ladder. However, I don't think it's a meta-defining card, nor is it a card that Haven will build around. I think we can expect to see more lions than deers for Haven, at least in the opening weeks. So this is a fine but average card that falls in at 3 Tartmen. Lastly, we have Jerva the Dragon Cannon. So Jerva is a body that has a damage dealing fanfare. It also restricts the player to 10 health, but with the amount of healing Dragon has, I don't think this is much of an issue. This isn't quite the Baja replacement either, but this and Lindworm are fine legendaries that will still find their way into decks, I think. I can see Jerva being a card that people will build decks around, but it could also find a spot in Ramp Dragon and maybe even in PDK for some extra fun shenanigans. Since this card can fit nicely into a top tier deck, it earns 4 Tartmen, but definitely something to keep an eye out that can maybe lean either way. So that does conclude my Failbait reviews legendaries from Dawnbreak Nightedge. So hopefully we can come back here again in maybe a month or 2 months time and have Failbait reviews. But that said, I am always happy to hear your thoughts on the card, so feel free to comment below. I'm always open to discussion. So until next time, keep popping those leaders.